In there in the background, are you? All right. Hello, Internet land. Hello, Facebook. Hello, LinkedIn. I am joined today by Sean Anderson. Without his fringe, what happened, man? Where did it go?
It fell off now. Do you know what? I waited 6 months to cut it off. I wanted to cut it for 6 months, and everyone was like, "Oh, you can't do that. It's like your logo. It's your thing."
It is like your logo. I'm seriously jealous of that fringe. Like, what? It must have been a big decision.
It was big. I was literally like, I had proper like pros and cons and shit in my head. And then the funny thing was when I did it, about a week after Phil Foden dyed his hair white, and then everyone said I look like, because I'm a Man City fan as well. I was like, "Oh, you've copied Phil Foden." I was like, "No, I'm just great," and I cut my hair first. But anyway, but now I'm happy with it. I like it for now. It's changed. Quiff can grow back.
So we've done this a few times, hey?
Yeah.
I feel like we've been doing this for years now, like once a year or once a week.
I think you first interviewed me in 2018, maybe late 2018. Then I interviewed you at the beginning of the pandemic, and then we're back again. So third time lucky, hopefully.
Yeah, and I went up to Hisham's. Did a Hisham's
our old office.
Yeah.
God. That was late 28. That was Christmas 2018.
Things have changed, hey. So I remember you invited me on at the beginning of the pandemic. And I remember I saw the invite. My business had just collapsed, and I thought, I don't know if I can talk to this guy. I don't know if I can do it. We were in Santa Barbara.
I know. Yeah.
And I just remember you were like, "Hey, I have to phone the bank after this here. I have to do this, and this." And I'm like, "Okay, I feel a bit more calm now." So it's not just me.
You weren't the only one. I think that if you remember, I went daily with the podcast, and
I copied you then.
I remember you. I think someone said you were like, "Oh fuck, he's done it first or something." It's like,
honestly, I didn't have the balls to do it because like I was there like this here. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do, and then you did it, and I thought, well, he's probably going through it. I may as well just do it.
Well, the world ended on the Friday, and then I took the weekend, and by the Monday, I was like, I've got to do something. Like I felt like a level of responsibility. I think I don't know what it is, but whilst my business is struggling in the background, I still feel the need to help people. And I was like, I've got this show which was getting about 4,000 to 5,000 downloads a month. I was like, I'm getting some listeners here. What if I just brought it to the community daily and just found out how everyone was dealing with COVID? Like every morning, have a little 20-minute soundbite for people to just lean on, because we were all fucking lost.
I enjoyed doing that as well on ours because it got like I was getting bored of interviewing people about how successful they are.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, brag to me now for half an hour about how great your business is. So this was an opportunity to go, all right, big man.
How fucked are you?
How responsible were you with your dividends? What are we looking at? And I had a few people beforehand, right? And I'm not going to name names, but they said, hey, don't ask me about furlough. Don't ask me about this here.
Really?
Like it was because it was all, nobody knew what was happening with the government in that moment. It was pretty tough. Well, how long did it take you to kind of weather the initial storm? Because like here, it's no secret, recruitment founders just stop paying bills, right? Like
do you know what? We were all right. I think we had about 35 retained clients at the time. I think we probably lost 5 in the first day, right? Where either went on pause completely or they just said literally, I'm not going to pay you, like I'm gone. Whereas the rest then were really good and were like negotiating. We had to drop fees for some people and reduce the amount of work we were doing. We were creative with payment terms and things, but what we found was quite quickly, people were like, well, no, it's quite funny because the first thing I did was I spoke to advisors, right? I rang people that I knew in the industry, as I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, you're the first to go. Like marketing will be the first to go. You're going to be cut. Expect to go and chop your whole team.
Rec as well.
Exactly, right?
International rec.
But that's what everyone said, right? And so my fear was like, fuck, we've had the biggest month ever in February, like, 3rd year anniversary, just had a party in the office. And then the next day we shut the fucking thing. And I'm like, it's mental, right? And I was like, we're literally just on the brink of doing some really good things. So I was like, what am I going to do? So obviously we reduced we let 2 people go. We didn't use furlough. So we made 2 redundancies in our own business of people that were on probation that, they were still in their probation period and they just weren't. It was a tough decision because even the furlough got announced about a few days later and they were like, well, put us on furlough. And I was like, no. And they were like, well, why not? I was like, because it's called the job retention scheme. And as bad as it sounds, you've not got a job. Like, I have not got a job for you at the end of this.
Yeah.
And it was a really tough thing to do because we could have easily done it. And part of my moral compass said, just do it, But then I was like, it just don't feel right. Like, and actually I need to focus on the people that are here and that it's just headache. So we just focused on what we could do. And then what transpired over the next couple of months was because it wasn't a financial crisis, it was a health crisis. And because we were all separate, clients realized quite quick they did need marketing because they couldn't meet anyone. You couldn't go out and meet your clients. It was just so much harder to do the things you'd always done. So everyone was, I don't know about you, but everyone just spent all day on LinkedIn. Like everyone was on LinkedIn. Like engagement on LinkedIn just went like a fucking rocket overnight. So then that was where my idea came from. I had the idea of the personal brand course back in 2017-18 when Hisham worked for me. We did a video on a hot day in August 2018 saying,
I remember,
we're going to launch this personal branding, and we had
you went to a Gary V thing, didn't you?
Yeah, and we had messages coming out of everywhere. Like that was already planned in my head.
Yeah.
And then Hisham actually, the business took a different direction. He took that plan and then started as Who's Branded. He left to do it, and fair play to him. I wasn't ready for it, but when the pandemic hit, I was like, now's the time, right? If I can. Yeah. I watched the way LinkedIn went. I looked at the audience and I said, I'm going to create something now that's going to impact people at a desk level, because company level will be potentially redundant if you got rid of everyone on furlough. Yeah. So we offered being an ex-school teacher, I sat myself in my bedroom at the time in London in April last year, just literally locked myself away. I did a little bit of work apart from built this course. And it was initially a 16-week program of how I would take a recruitment owner from looking at LinkedIn in a pandemic going, what the fuck am I doing, to understanding how to sort their profile out, how to produce content, how to engage with people, who to engage with, how to launch podcasts, how to automate things. Like I did loads of stuff.
Yeah.
And then what actually happened as I launched that in May, it took me a month, and it was build it while you're riding it type situation. But I've always done that. The agency then, the clients just seemed to come back, or it stabilized, and so by the summer we were actually in quite a good position. We had like two revenue streams, whereas previously we had one. So it was real panic stations in March, and then April was head down, podcast, build, and then May, June, July actually seeing things start to take off a little bit. So it was I think I came out of it better than a lot of people at that point.
One sec, Shaq, could you share this here out around social for just so people know it's on the channels?
I sure can.
So that's that mirrors a lot of the stuff that we went through. I think we went through more pain, if I'm honest, because we had to completely pivot because there's no international, right?
You had no. Did you have any recurring revenue, or was it all just
no?
There you go. We had the whole business was recurring revenue. So we kept that base stable to a degree.
And I remember saying I never want to get caught at the bottom of the food chain again. It was the scariest thing. And slowly things have kind of got back to normal, to a point now that everybody's hiring and expectations have gone back to, will that person make me a bit of money? Then okay, I'll bring them in, which is like the good times are back. The education. So it's really interesting that you studied as a teacher and you've gone full circle.
I went teacher, recruiter, marketer, teaching recruiters marketing. So I've literally just gone like all my skills in one.
Yeah. What was like, so in order to build that course, we had a brief chat before. You mentioned you went and found other courses like Sam Ovens. What did you kind of take from the way that they did things?
I think it was just the model of how they distributed the work, how they planned their work, their topics are completely different, but it was more the model of how they execute, how they sold to me, how they then delivered the course. Yeah. So I bought about 4, to be honest. But it was like when I started Hawksville, in 2016 as a recruiter, I was buying digital marketing courses in my spare time. I was watching. I mean, that's just who I am. That's the sort of person I am. So And I had a mate who was running a very, very similar product in the fitness industry as well. So I worked with him a lot. I already knew how to plan lessons. I already knew the kind of gist of what I wanted to do. But then by going out and leaning on people that have already been successful, like in any industry, I was able to beg, borrow, and steal the things I like. We're still not the finished article, but we're running a really good business now. And it is, in April, I made the decision to fully focus on it. So whilst Hawksville Media still exists and it's grown about 40 to 50% since the pandemic began, my business is now, took off to the point where we've got like 6 employees and we're growing, and we've got clients. So we've got 240 clients around the world. So it's going really well.
What do the 6 employees do?
Sales, marketing, operations, and content.
Wow. Okay.
And delivery of the course, which is mainly me.
So you're and how does the structure work? What did you go with in the end?
What do you mean?
Like, is it like group sessions, or is it video sessions? And then
the way it works now is if you sign up with the academy, your whole agency gets access to it. So we have the ability to train every single member of your staff and scalably grow with the members of staff. So if you're for a 100-man business, but you go to 200-man business, every single person in your business can then both get access to the online training and the pre-recorded online stuff, but also we're live on Zoom. So we're always running it live every single week. So they get access to an 8-week program, which takes every single member of staff from looking at LinkedIn to being, knowing exactly what they're doing. And then every 2 weeks we're live with extra content as well. So it's like a boot camp, if you like, for people to get to a standard. And then there's every month we have the ongoing training to push them to the next level. And then we're effectively doing research on LinkedIn every day so that our community know more about it than people that aren't in there. So there's recruitment agencies where it's hilarious. They spend so much money on LinkedIn. They spend a fortune on it. Everyone's got recruiter licenses. We're spending sponsored content. We're pumping thousands. All of our candidates and clients come from LinkedIn, yet we're not training them on how to engage people on the platform. When right now it won't last forever, but I could write a post in 5 minutes in 5 minutes and probably get 500,000 views if I do it right. You couldn't pay for that on any other social platform. So I think when you get each member of staff at a desk level engaged with this, you have a very powerful business, because you're getting like 4, 5, 6, 7,000 views at a desk level around the all the time, which you can't get that from a central marketing team. It's impossible.
How many modules are there? And can you kind of give us a run through on like the different modules that you've come up with?
Yes, over 8 weeks, you would learn how to optimize how to define an audience. So who am I speaking to on LinkedIn, which is a big one. Then how do we optimize LinkedIn profiles? How do we create content? So what types of content could you create? We give loads of examples and we train you on that. We give you templates and guides, things like that. How to engage with other people. So what type of engagement should you be looking at? How much is good? How much is too much? Then we look at written word. How do we really hone in on copywriting skills? We talk about planning and repurposing libraries of content as well. And then we look at some video stuff. So basic recruiter-friendly editing tools that can produce videos with subtitles and banners and things like that. And then we wrap that all up in a content library because the thing about content is funny, like repurposing content is just as big as producing. So like you see me every day on LinkedIn, half the stuff I produced last year, I just retweak it and put it out again. Like, 'cause the topics are evergreen most of the time. So we teach people to build a library that will then serve them in the future.
Very good. I probably do some of that, but not as systematic, So that's interesting. So when just on that last point, how does somebody go about creating a library that's evergreen? Like what does that process look like?
Well, it's a process of storing the content that you're producing, right, in a place you can find it, and thinking about the type of content that can be used in the future and type that can't. Like there's certain things that you can use in the future, and there's certain things that are more.
So for recruiters, we're talking like salaries, culture, like.
Yeah, I think anything that's knowledge based, when you think it's stuff you're already saying on the phone to your customers, and you repeat yourself a lot. It's that kind of stuff. It's the valuable stuff that's very. It's the same stuff you were saying 3 years ago, and you're just fucking repeating it all the time. These are the things we should be sharing on LinkedIn every day, because most of my content, if you look at my content, it comes from the conversations I have. Like I'm not sat there wondering what to write about. I'm taking shit I'm already doing. Like this conversation now, I could sit and watch it back and then just literally transcribe into social posts because I'm already saying this stuff. And recruiters don't realize that. They're like, 55% of the people we interviewed last year said they do not know what to write about. It's like, well, first place to look is yourself and what you're already saying. So we get them to think like that and build a storage unit effectively and we give them templates of how to do all that.
Something that always interests me is if you're looking at a recruiter's desk, how much time should they be spending on doing content versus the business spending time on doing content with them? How do you get that balance right?
I think as a primary focus, every individual should be investing at least 30 minutes a day on LinkedIn, like 30 minutes a day on posting and engaging, like, because they're already on it. Like clients always say to me, "Oh, we haven't got time for that." I was like, if you think your recruiters are fucking optimized for 8 hours a day and are working non-stop, like you've lost the plot. Like the amount of time we all waste on LinkedIn reading a lot of shite, we could tap in 30 minutes of that and give them a plan. So I think you need about 30 minutes a day personally. And then you can do as much as you want on top. Like you could do 3 hours, but minimum expectation for me is about 30 minutes. Company wise, I mean, then it's a completely different ball game. It's depending on marketing teams and budget and time and spend and all the rest of it. And
okay. And should the company be then controlling the recruiters' LinkedIn, do you think?
I don't think so. No. Fucking what, do you want to create a team of robots? Like let them go and be themselves, let them express themselves, give them a framework, like talk about things that they're gonna. Again, my course gives them a framework that I think every recruiter, every agency will be absolutely fine with because it's built for businesses in this sector. But if you want to kind of create a really strict social policy, you'll just bore the shit out of your audience and get nowhere from it. So you have to create individuals with personalities, with value, with information, with credibility that collectively add weight to a brand rather than making a lot of robots.
Yeah, I was watching some of Hayes's posts the other day, and they're just brutal. Like the recruiters just don't look like they want to do it. They look like there's a KPI that's newly been put in there.
There will be a lot of that. But I think the challenge is when people have never seen the success, they just think it's another task. Whereas for me,
how do you make it fun and interesting? How do you get the reading? Like
you've got to explain the benefits and you got to show it them, and I think it's a case of when they realize it's quite simple, when they realize it's not that difficult, when they realize it's quite good fun, when they start to get engagement and they start to see candidates and clients come from it, you've got them, like one of my clients in Asia was like, recruit civil engineers. And he said in the first, as soon as he started posting, within a couple of weeks, he got 2 candidates reach out to him and say, "Look, I've seen you online. I love what you're writing about." And they referenced specific posts he'd wrote. And then they were like, "Can you represent us?" He went back and checked those posts and the people never liked it. So he's like, it's funny, isn't it? Like not everyone is going to comment. Not everyone's even going to like on it. Some people are just natural voyeurs, but they see it. So for me, I think people need to, I try and make it very clear that people need to value the views that they get every day. It's attention, because the only reason you're ringing anyone is for attention. The only reason you're doing anything is for attention. And if you can get, even if it's just 1,000 views a day, that's 250 days a year. That's 250,000 views a year that you're able to get on your own page, which it will add value. Like it'll add significant value. And then when you start getting DMs and inbound messages and candidates coming through, and your response rates are higher when you reach out to people, which is a big one, because it's all good getting inbound, but outbound's a tough gig in recruitment. But when people recognize you and they see you frequently, your response rates go through the roof. So, you do need someone in the business that's bought into this stuff. It's hard if you've got a whole team and then a manager doesn't care, it all comes from the top. But majority of the businesses we work with are probably quite similar to the ones you work with. That they're modern, they want to learn, and they want to get the best out of their investment.
Can you drop some LinkedIn knowledge bombs on us? I feel like maybe some of my LinkedIn skills are not up to date as they were. What type of stuff are you learning when you're doing your research on a daily basis?
One thing we've learned recently is that the more simple the post, the better. So like when you write a really complex post with like multiple questions and detail, I mean, most people are just putting like, people are just putting up one fucking emoji and some, a load of emojis, load of symbols, just make it like almost dumb it down. It goes crazy. Personal content's working really well, which has always worked, but right now it's, it's particularly going well. LinkedIn did a survey last year, right? They asked, I don't know how many people they interviewed, but they asked people the top 10 reasons they go to LinkedIn. What do you reckon number one was?
Looking for a job?
No. Entertainment. Right. Number two, networking. Number three was value. And number four was a job. So it's not even in the top 3 reasons people go to the platform. If you're looking at the whole of the 740 million members, it's not actually why people are there anymore. It used to be, but it's not anymore. It's become a proper social network. So, you've got to play to the strengths of the platform. What going against it is so that's one thing we've noticed. Obviously, everyone knows polls are doing really well. Like,
I'm making so many placements off polls.
Yeah, the good thing about a poll is you can see the people that it tells you who are the individual people that do everything. So you can, get a nice list of engaged people.
Last week I was like, who wants to move to Caymans or Dubai? I wanted to keep it really simple.
Yeah. And
Arena got 3 candidates. She has them interview, and I think one placement already. And it's like, just from a poll, like that's.
Polls are brilliant. What else is there that's new? I mean, obviously the word count, the character count's changed from, I think it's 3,300 now, from 1,300. So you can write a really long post, which we're just testing that right now. I've not seen any evidence to suggest that it makes any difference. But we're testing that right now. There's so many things my team are looking at.
And the guy in America, Joel, he's doing really well, isn't he? I see.
Yeah,
he's all over my newsfeed.
Yeah, he's done an incredible job at building a big audience. He's got like 60,000 followers now on the platform.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think they're all as recruitment focused as me and you. He's got a lot more mass market in the US, but he's honing in on that at the moment. His
messages are always very simple, almost like Greg Savage simple.
Yeah,
he's a smart element of Captain Obvious to it, but there's an engagement hook, and then
Joel just knows how to use. He knows how to write. He's a very good writer.
Yeah,
very talented boy, Joel. He's bringing a lot. He's brought a hell of a lot to the team, and it's great to work with as well.
Yeah, so it's so polls. So if like the average recruiter's logging in, like how many posts should they be putting out? Should they be liking lots of content? Should they be sharing lots of content? Like, is there
sharing is a waste of time. When you click the share button, you actually damage the post originally and your own. So don't do that. Like, it's just the shittest thing you could do on LinkedIn right now. Like, literally does nothing. So don't ever share. Don't ever click the share button.
There you go.
No, don't click the share button. Share natively, so you can copy the text or the image or whatever and put it up yourself. And then you could put a link back to the post in the comments, but don't share. When you share, it doesn't get anywhere. It does nothing, right? So, and we've done a load of tests on this. Literally, I put a post up last year at the beginning of the pandemic that did really well. So I just literally shared it and was like, I think it was when we went into lockdown again in January. And I got 23 views in 4 hours, right? Wow. And then I literally took the text, posted it again. I got 23,000 views in 24 hours by just taking the exact same word. So it doesn't work. What was your question though? It was, well, how many times? I mean, I'd say a minimum expectation would be three posts a week that are not jobs. Like that'd be the minimum I'd expect now. Yeah. Ideally going to 5. I only ever post 5 times a week. Joel does more like 13 sometimes. I look at it like there's a kind of diminishing returns when you go beyond once a day personally, but it really depends on what you're doing as a job as well. You know, I've got so much to do. I run a business. I've got every facet of company ownership to worry about. I can't spend all day on LinkedIn, even though I'd love to. But if your job was all day on LinkedIn, you could post more than once. You could spend a lot of time engaging with people. But I'm a big believer in boxing off time. So I spend like an hour a day, 30 minutes doing engaging with other people and 30 minutes responding to things that have come through the day before. That's kind of my everything. And I post in that time every day between 9 and 10. That's kind of how I structure my time.
Which tool do you spend most of your time on if you look at any technology throughout the day?
probably my it's a tough one because I'm not in a kind of a specific role. You know, it's not like I have a very clear job. So if I was CRM, obviously I'm in a lot, but yeah, I couldn't give you one. I've deleted Instagram, got rid of that, got rid of Facebook. I have access to them. I've got a profile, but I've got no. I don't
have Instagram go with your fringe, did it?
Instagram went a year and a half ago, actually. Yeah, it went when I
never got into it.
No, I was pretty big on it, but yeah, shit went wrong in my personal life, and I was like, I just can't be arsed with this. Like, I don't need it. Yeah. And then Facebook was a time sap.
I have a business Facebook account, so I mean, like, it's me, but it's just for business. So it's just for connecting with recruiters and like people in the community and being part of those groups and doing this type of stuff because of it. Yeah.
I personally just found that, you know, I could get what I needed from LinkedIn. I'm going to keep checking whether anything changes, but for now I focus on LinkedIn. So technology, I mean, even that, I deleted it off my phone the other week. People just thought I was a lunatic, but
WhatsApp's my biggest killer.
I'd say WhatsApp's a bad one. And Google Chat, we have Google Chat, which is our internal Slack, which I'm on a lot as well. So kind of those two things.
I feel like I run everything off WhatsApp. It's a good job Charlotte actually runs our business. So she's actually in the real technology. But all right. So paid adverts. What's your thoughts? LinkedIn. What do you think? Where would your spend be if you were an agency owner?
Sponsored content, you mean?
Yeah. Would you like? Do you think job slots are worthwhile versus sponsored content versus? I don't know.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. Job slots is not an area that I invest much time in knowledge in, so I honestly don't know. I'm not going to pretend I do. When it comes to lead generation, brand building, sponsored content's good. It's expensive, but it is super. You know, you can get a really good, clear audience that you're building. I think Facebook advertising for most B2B companies is difficult because you can't focus on industries and job titles. You know, if it's B2C, Instagram will kill it. It's just amazing. But when you're focusing on B2B, I just don't know why you wouldn't invest in LinkedIn. So there are some really good wins you can get from LinkedIn sponsored content. It's just a funny one. I mean, recruiters are so data rich. You know, they're so data rich. What are you doing with that data? You know, and are you getting your teams to connect with the right people? Because all the money you spend on sponsored content is typically to hit the people that your teams are probably already connected to anyway. Yeah. So I kind of think it's a really good two-pronged attack to have brand stuff going out sponsored. The thing is, if you look at a company page on LinkedIn, you won't get much engagement on your native post on your company page. And the reason is LinkedIn suppress that, so you spend money on the sponsored content. I think they made $4 billion on ad revenue last year, right? So they clearly will not allow your LinkedIn newsfeed to be seen by lots of company posts, because if you got loads of organic reach, you wouldn't pay, would you?
Yeah.
However, in order for your newsfeed to not just be full of paid ads, they need the personal post to actually fill it. So that's why we're able to get this huge organic reach on our personal pages. It's actually to benefit their sponsored content budgets.
Do you remember when everybody thought they had to do video?
And it was
horrendous. You had like people in their cars driving, and there's a rec track, I can't remember which one, but they were like driving like this here, and they just got hammered. And I was
I mean, if you remember my early days, I did a lot of walking and talking videos. So I was always out and about.
Not driving at the same time now.
No, I wasn't driving. I was in London but I used to be walking the streets between meetings, and I'd just talk my mind. But back then there was no one doing it, so you could get 250,000 views on anything. Like, you could literally say anything. And then we saw the resurgence of everyone doing it, and then you saw what you realize is people aren't the most engaging. The worst bit is they all opened their videos with the "Hi LinkedIn, hoping you're well," like they would on the phone.
This is my first LinkedIn video,
and then you never see them ever again. But look, I actually think I respect people for doing it. I respect people for trying. The thing about those videos is not many people have consistently kept them up. And now I mean, I don't produce as much video as I used to, because I don't think there's as much of a benefit from it. Like, I've built enough, and I always top up each week with at least one video. That's my plan. But I used to do loads more. The I think LinkedIn has originated from it's a written based platform. Like I always ask the question, do you ever see a video post without written words above it? There's always still a written post, right? So why are you writing all that if the video is going to do it itself? The truth is people read on LinkedIn. That's kind of the kind of default setting that we have when we're on that platform. So leaning to your words will, in my opinion, be a better return on investment.
What's that?
Just plugging my laptop in. It's about to die.
All right. So we're half an hour in. Tell me, who should reach out to you on this on the Hawksville Academy? What's that process look like?
I think look, we work with 3 different types of businesses. We work with like literally one-man bands, like who really want to like learn the skills to build a brand themselves. They want to put the time in to genuinely punch above their weight. And we've got so many clients that have done really well from that. We then have worked with the smaller businesses, you kind of anything up to sort of 20 staff, where the owner typically is quite engaged and involved and wants to get the rest of the team on board. And the team, everyone's really tight knit and close. So when you go in the course together, it's great because everyone's enjoying it and, we get everyone going. And then we have the bigger businesses where, it's slightly more about the fact that we start new courses every month. If you sign with us for a year, you get 12 opportunities to train as many people as you want in your team, right? So, if you want a scalable solution to train your teams only on that LinkedIn piece, we're not stepping into your world. We're not going to go into loads of different areas. We do one thing and we do it well, and that's getting people on LinkedIn to understand how to build a brand that gets engagement and results. So I don't think there's many people that wouldn't benefit. I think it comes from you got to look at your own LinkedIn spend. You got to think, right, we're probably training our teams to sell. We're probably training our teams to manage people, but we're spending a fortune and they're spending half their day on this platform and they do not know what they're doing. So, the way that our course works is you pay for the whole agency. So you're not, it works out really quite cheap for every individual. And so the process is just drop us either go to the website. You can see the Academy link on the website, click on the Academy link, register your interest, or just send me a DM on LinkedIn and I'll set that up for you.
All right. Good man, Sean. Well, you'll be at the expo speaking, will you? Or are you doing any of the rounds this year?
No, I've not looked at any of that this year. I've just kind of kept my head down. I don't know. I got a bit sucked into all that before the pandemic, and this year I'm just staying in my own lane, just focusing on what I'm doing. I think next year I'll probably go back to that kind of stuff, but no, I've not got involved. Yeah,
Charlotte's going to go out and do all that. I'm going to give it a rest this year as well. So what biggest excitement for the future to finish up?
For me personally?
Yeah, for the business, for the direction that you're going in.
I just love helping more people. And, the business I've got now, I'm able to engage, like we've got 1,650 recruiters right now we're coaching. So, we're able to engage each person. So I'm getting messages constantly every day off people, but we're responding to every one of them and we're building relationships with every one of them and we're seeing the impact that we're having on each one of them. So for me, it's just the scale. I set out a mission years ago that I wanted to change the way the industry performed, right? I wanted to modernize the industry. I wanted to impact the industry. I kind of didn't know in what direction. Whereas now I'm like, I really want to build the most engaged, the biggest community of modern recruiters, people that genuinely understand that they can raise their profile and get results in multiple ways. I never will be the guy that says, don't pick up the phone. I don't believe in it. I'm not I'm not scared of phoning people. I just think if you add a layer of this stuff on top, you get so much more opportunity. So, I feel like we're already making dents. We've got clients in every continent. So I think the excitement is just, I don't know where it can go. Who knows? Like, just keep going, keep enjoying it, see what happens.
All right. Thanks so much, Sean.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate it.